Guadagnino. I'm gonna say Guadagnino. How do you say it? I've heard it so many different ways.
I'm just now looking at how you spell the last name.
Yeah.
Guadagnino.
See, I think the GN just becomes like a nya sound.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going on.
All right.
Guadagnino is pretty easy to say.
Guadagnino. Okay.
But he made Call Me By Your Name, which we all really like. Oh, wait, no. Have you seen that?
I have not seen Call Me By Your Name, no.
Oh my God, you haven't seen Call Me By Your Name.
I know.
That's crazy because I don't even really watch relationship movies, but that was really good.
I know it's another like really horny movie, as was this one.
It's probably hornier than this. Have you heard of Bones and All too?
That's the Timothée Chalamet movie.
The other one, yeah.
Is that also Guadagnino?
Yeah, that's that's Luca Guadagnino, dog, and it's another like straight up romance about cannibals though.
Oh.
So it looks interesting, but I don't want to watch that.
They call that the Guadagnino twist. It's a it's a filmmaking technique.
It's a little out there.
Yeah.
But so I haven't probably not gonna watch that one. But the day before I saw Challengers, I watched Suspiria, the Suspiria remake by Luca. And that movie kind of sucked.
Oh.
So I was a little worried going into Challengers because Call Me By Your Name is really good. But then Suspiria was just like quick review of Suspiria. It sucks. And it's a lot of people really like it, but to me it was just like art house horror trash. You know what I mean? Like pretentious and kind of like shock value and like.
Well, because isn't the original
really know what's happening?
Isn't the original Suspiria also like that?
The original Suspiria is like straight up experimental, I think.
Yeah.
And there's like I've watched some videos on it. Like there's no storyline. It's just like all visuals and like filmmaking stuff. Yeah, Dakota Johnson's really bad in it. Some people say she's really good and she's really bad. I thought she was terrible. Tilda Swinton and Mia Goth are like acting circles around her for the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking long too. It's 2.5 hours.
Jesus.
Very different movie from Challengers. This is about tennis players. What did you think of the movie?
I went in having like zero expectations of this movie. I did not know what it was about. I literally only knew that it involved the tennis, and then Kristen and I have been calling it the Zendaya threesome movie for like all up until we saw it, because that's just what the trailer showed. So I didn't know anything about this movie going in, but I thought that this movie was awesome. I thought it had me on my edge of my seat the entire time. I've seen it twice. I thought that the writing was really tight. I thought that the acting was all really good. Everybody has chemistry, because we talked about chemistry so much in our past lives episode. I think that this is like chemistry defined on screen. Everybody has chemistry with one another. It's very crazy. The acting
Past
is really
Lives
good.
is like a threesome movie too.
And this one's way better.
Yeah, it's like the same thing, just 3 characters.
Yeah.
Except you don't know anything about any of them in Past Lives. And in Challengers, you go so deep into every character. It's great.
I know. It's such a good, like, I don't know. I love the way this movie also uses time and it bounces back and forth.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really good, like, structured way to use flashbacks and then have the overarching, like, tire tournament narrative to like get everything all tied together. That's what it is.
Yeah, what was it like Tire Town, New Rochelle, New York?
Yeah,
it's like just this whatever town,
which is also where Jordan lives. And I was like, oh hey, look, I've been there. Weird. That was cool.
But yeah, the time thing is really cool. I didn't even think to talk about that. Like it's pretty complex, but it never gets like confusing.
Yeah,
they just do it really like in a very understandable way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, my favorite. You said the character stuff. I mean, that's the meat of the movie. I thought it was so well done too.
Mm-hmm.
How it's like basically 3 character studies. It's like 3 characters and no side characters.
Yeah,
it's kind of great.
That was kind of crazy. I pulled up the cast list just to try to refamiliarize myself because I keep forgetting Patrick's actor's name. But there is really only 3 characters in the movie. There's like nobody else. It's just the 3 of them. And that's what makes it so strong, is because it's so focused. It's so laser focused on these characters and does a great job of giving us enough attachment to each of them.
Yeah, I've seen character studies of like one character that are like less depthful than it gets deep, then it gets into all 3 of these characters. You really feel like by the end of it, you really like understand. Like they're written so consistently too, which is great. Like you kind of get the motivations of all of them throughout the years, and then by the end of it, you feel like you just really understand what each of them is about.
I also think they did a good job, and this is just like a costuming and styling perspective.
Oh my God.
Or no, of like making each character like when they're in the past look really young, and then like aging them up appropriately.
That
when
shit
they're
was
older.
crazy.
They did a really good job. Like Mike Feist specifically, like Art's character, like the hair change is so like jarring. He literally looks like 2 different people with the fluffy hair, the hot hair, and then his like, and then his like
hair.
lamer hair.
Wait. Mike Feist looked like John Mulaney, right?
Oh, I'm looking
that
at
is
his,
all I could think about the entire movie.
I'm looking at his headshot now. I can kind of see that.
Well, I think especially in the movie and the way he talks too, he kind of has the same like he has kind of a higher pitched voice, and he kind of talks like just the cadence of his voice. That's all I could see in him.
That's pretty funny.
For the whole thing. So I'm either gonna call him Art or John Mulaney.
Okay, either or works.
I was calling him that the whole movie.
Also, whenever Zendaya is in a movie, I just call her Zendaya because I do not.
Oh, I'm gonna call her Zendaya.
I remember the character's name. It's Tashi, but she's Zendaya in all of our minds.
She's Zendaya. Yeah. When the first time it goes into the flashback, which is like just like 10-15 minutes in, when they're 18, I was like, oh my God, those guys look exactly like 18-year-olds, which you don't see a lot in movies.
Yeah,
it's really hard to make them convincing.
I mean, like, how old is Mike Feist and Josh O'Connor? Let me look it up.
They're like 30, I think.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how they did it. I'm like, is that just really good makeup or like a little bit of CGI? But I think what they did is they just Mike Feist and was it Josh O'Connor?
Josh O'Connor. They're 32 and 33 respectively.
Yeah, they're 30 years old, but they have like youthful faces, you know?
Yeah, they really
have youthful
do.
features. So they look like they're 25, which is right in the middle. So then they can like take 5 years off for the flashbacks and add 5 years for the flash forwards, which was great like casting.
The beard does wonders for
that too.
For Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, just the makeup is insane in this movie. Like they look literally like they're 18. I think the great thing about going back to the characters, you really know them, but also it's not like they're really human because they're all kind of assholes.
Yeah.
But they're all you can sympathize with them each in their own ways, which is amazing.
They're very understandable characters, and that's I think what makes kind of their story like heartbreaking. Because even Art, who is, I think, kind of like the pretty boy, good boy, like he's kind of like the good guy throughout the most of the movie. He does kind of connive and break up Zendaya and Patrick. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It is his fault that they break up.
You have these 2 sides to each character because, like, and that's why it was such a great like viewing experience because I would like get introduced to them and they kind of establish likability up front for each of them individually, and then it would show them doing something like really shitty and I'd be like, oh, I don't like them anymore. But then in the next scene, like something shitty would happen to them and be like, oh, I kind of feel for them now. And you have these 2 sides to each of them. Like yeah, Art is he's like nice and hardworking, but he's also like kind of conniving, kind of like what is it, like self-deprecating. He's kind of a pussy. He's like in the end he's getting like he basically has no autonomy because he's just kind of like living Tashi's life, Zendaya's life.
She's like she's puppeting him essentially.
Yeah, literally. So you're kind of like, come on, Art, stand up for yourself. Fucking Patrick is like a super douchebag, but he's really good at reading people, and he's like really real and knows like what he's about.
Yeah.
So he's great. And then Zendaya is like, she's a control freak, but you also kind of feel the worst for her because she like had everything and then she got the injury. So you're like, oh,
dude, that scene where she's like, well, first of all, when she breaks her leg is crazy. But then the scene where afterwards, where she's telling Art to like stop going easy on her, and then he goes like a little harder on her, and then she like can't do it, and she has to like sit down by the tree, and there's that like children's choir playing. I was like, damn,
that was one of the best scenes.
So bad.
Yeah.
I think what also made that hurt really bad for her is that like she was probably thinking about when Patrick was saying like, why aren't you going pro? Like, why are you wasting your time here? And I think that what made that injury so much worse for her is that he was right, and that she was wasting her time at Stanford, and she could have gone pro, but now she broke her knee and she'll never be pro.
Yeah, that's kind of like an underlying thing throughout. It's not like super explicit, but yeah, just that theme of like what could have been, or like, did you make the right choices, being okay with like where you are in life and kind of making the most of it, which they kind of don't. So yeah, it is like a tragedy.
Like none of them really are able to do that, which is super unfortunate. Like, even Tashi and Art, who are super successful and like they're like worldwide celebrities, even them, like they are both still unfulfilled.
They're kind of losers.
Yeah, and
everyone's a loser. They establish Patrick, like he's so pathetic when you first see him.
He is.
Which like just makes you that likability again, because he just wants to get into a fucking hotel room.
He is such a shit-eating grin, dude. Every time I see him, like
really, I could sympathize with him.
Well, I do feel bad for him. And upon second watching, Zendaya had an interview, and she said that everyone should watch the movie 3 times, and each time you watch the movie, try to focus from a different character's perspective. And the second time I watched it, Kristen said that she watched it from Patrick's perspective. And she said that like he is so clearly in love with Art like the entire movie, and like he definitely has more like gay undertones in his character. And so he is a lot more sympathetic the second time around that you watch it. But the first time I watched it, man, I was like, fuck Patrick, he's the worst. And Tashi. I was like, because Tashi, I think, becomes like a secondary antagonist, I think, for the most part of the movie. Like, I think that she is an antagonist for like most of the movie. And so the first time I watched it, I was like, I'm all on Art's side, and I'm only on Art's side because he's the best character.
No, I was kind of I mean, I've only seen it once, but I was kind of on the opposite of the things that you just said, because like Patrick, I think was probably my favorite character because he's kind of turbo asshole, but like he's so real, and he seems like he kind of knows what's going on the most, and the great thing about him is he has no like that scene at the end where he says like, yeah, I'm an asshole, but like I know I am Tashi. Like he has no illusions about what's going on. Tashi does like the most I think like the most overt evil things. like Patrick I wouldn't really call evil, but I would call Zendaya evil. Like she's just like pitting these two guys against each other to watch them like fight for her own enjoyment. It's kind of crazy.
And it's so painful watching her and Art interact, because Art is so clearly like puppy love still for her, like, and we'll do anything for her, and she's so bored by him, and it's
they both
sad.
hate each other.
Well, I don't think he hates her. I think that he loves her and the family that they've created, and she's just bored because she just cares about tennis. That's all she's ever cared about.
There was that scene at the end where he's sleeping in their kid's bed.
Oh, that scene got a tear out of me the second time I watched it. I was like, damn, I feel so bad for him because he doesn't know.
I think they do just both feel trapped. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, he feels trapped because he doesn't want to be a tennis player anymore.
Yeah. But he still feels trapped by her.
Yeah, but he still loves Tashi, and he loves their daughter, and he loves like their family. I just don't think he loves tennis as much as she does. No one loves tennis.
Bro,
as much
I
as
was
she does.
like, I was gonna say Art was maybe my like he's the one that I connected with the least. Like, does he love Tashi? I was like, is this love, or is he just dependent on her, dude?
I
that's the
think
thing.
I think he does, and he like the overall arc of his story is that he always has. I think, like, I think he loves Tashi, although she does cheat on him. That sucks. But I think that even though she cheats on him, I think that he loves her so much that he is willing to like stay because
I,
he is like is so like beholden to her.
that you use the word beholden, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like it's bordering on just dependence. It's bordering
Right.
on like you just love her because like you have to because
Well,
like you don't know anything else.
I don't think that he minds. I think that he's like this
This is fine.
sucks. he's like this sucks, and my my wife is terrible to me, but you know that's my wife, and I'm here.
That's Tashi. He's evil.
That's just Tashi. She just cheats on me every now and then with my childhood rival.
Oh my god! Everybody gets one,
Everybody gets two.
3.
I want to know your perspective on this specifically. And I was thinking about you when I was watching this movie. Was the music? How did you feel about the music?
I was gonna say that's literally the next thing I was gonna point out because I had mixed feelings on the music.
Oh, okay.
Because there were scenes where it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
There were scenes where it works really well, and there were scenes where it felt distracting. Cause like so the main way that music is employed is obviously like the driving synth
Yeah.
thing like during the actual matches,
Mm-hmm.
and that was good to get the blood pumping, but then there were other scenes where it would play the synth thing during like arguments between people, and I get that it was supposed to be like, oh, this argument, this relationship is like a tennis match, like back and
Right.
forth, but it kind of took me out of it. There's specifically the big fight scene between Patrick and Tashi, where they like finally kind of part ways after fucking around for a bit, and I was thinking like it's a really good argument because again the acting, the performances are great, but
Is this
like
the one? Is this the one in the alleyway? What do you
no, it's not the one in the alleyway.
Oh, okay.
It's the flashback one where they're like 20, and it's right before the match where Tashi breaks her.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the big fight in the bedroom where they're like about to fuck.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Do you even care about me, or you just care about tennis?"
Yeah.
It's that one, and it's a great fight. But you have the synth, you have that driving synth thing in the background for like most of it, and I just thought it would be so much like more impactful, just silent, so you can kind of let their voice, let him speak for himself. And there were multiple parts like that where I feel like the score was like either too loud or too like bombastic, where it just kind of distracted me a little bit. I don't know.
I thought that definitely like the score I really loved. I loved like the house kind of feeling of this EDM score, like soundtrack. I thought was really cool. And like Chris and I have played like the Challengers like theme song like in the car before, and it's like it goes crazy. But I do agree with you in that sometimes I think it feels like the needle drop feels a little abrupt sometimes, where it like it happens and it's like, okay, like, well, oh my god, we're in this like really intense
definitely
moment now.
it'll just like start sometimes,
and then it fades out, like it goes like a and it fades out, and I'm like, okay, well, why do we need to have that? Like that was
there's a couple like hard
nowhere.
cuts too.
Yeah,
there was one time when I think Art, it's like early in the movie, and Art is, I think Tashi's talking about something, and Art's kind of like drifting off, and it starts playing the soundtrack. To be like he's kind of in his own little world or something, and then it hard cuts back to reality, and the score like hard cuts off, and I was kind of confused. I'm like, was that supposed to be funny, or was that like he's dramatic, like he's getting pumped up or something, or he's like not entirely there? It was just kind of, some of the editing is weird, and Luca Guadagnino does have like unique editing. The editing is one of my favorite parts of Call Me by Your Name, because it's really, because he does stuff like that where he puts just a cut like where you wouldn't expect it, and it's really cool in Call Me by Your Name because it makes the pace of the scenes like really kind of freeform and like almost documentarian. Like it doesn't feel like character walks into a scene, says lines, cut, next scene. It just kind of like goes at its own pace, and I really love it there. But it was kind of weird in this movie, it just felt a little abrupt in parts, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, what did you think? Same thing as this. What did you think of like the gospel songs? Because those kind of took me out of it too. They felt a little heavy-handed, like
So
towards the end.
I mean, like, wait, there aren't that many gospel songs, right? I think
There's like
only
2 points. Yeah.
Well, okay, so I think that I made this connection when the second time I watched it. The gospel songs play at the lowest point of Tashi's life. Both times. The first time is the knee break tree scene.
Yeah.
And the other is when she cheats on Art with Patrick for the second time in the car. Yeah. And so both of those play, I think, when she is at her lowest. When she's at her lowest, no Peter Griffin, if you know what I'm saying. Sorry, cut that, please.
Didn't get a laugh from me.
please cut that. So both of those play when she is, like, I think at the lowest point in her life. And so I think that it is a little heavy-handed in the tone, but I do think that it works because it's employed so like conservatively. Like, it's only used twice. If they used it like every time, like if Art's like kind of like looking sad at Zendaya as she like leaves the room and it's doing that, then I think it would be heavy-handed, but I think it works for what it's used for.
Okay. Yeah, it is only twice.
Yeah. I do want to commend, because we talked about it a couple of times, but how Zendaya plays that scene is so good. Like, it's so good because, like, you could very easily do like a sobbing, like, oh my god, my career is over, but she has like this very like contained, like almost like rage rather than sadness about it. And I think that it's so good to show her frustration, and she's so like pulled back, and like the tears are there, but they're not like the focus. It's like just like more of like her face and how like pissed off she is. And I just love that. I love that part of that scene.
No, yeah, that's her whole character. She's like very angry.
Yeah. You can't talk about this movie without talking about how horny it is. It's very horny. There's a lot of good tension, but something that I do think is really cool is that all of the horniness is not gratuitous. There is like a couple full frontal nudity shots, but it's not of Zendaya, which is cool for once. We finally get like
Wait,
dick
is
in
there
a movie.
dick in the movie?
Yeah, it's in the locker room scene after.
Yeah, no, but it's not of none of the main 3 are nude.
Yeah. You do see Patrick's butt at a certain point, but other than that,
right? Okay.
It's just other like random characters.
As I was thinking of. Right, there is just a random dick, a couple dicks in the locker room, which is it's a locker room.
There was like a group of like high school girls sitting behind me, and they went, "Oh my goodness!" Every time, like,
a pingus!
Oh my god! But I do think what I think is cool about this movie is that there is a lot of horniness, but it's not gratuitous, and it's not the main draw of the movie. The main draw of the movie is that the movie is good. It's not just like, oh, go see Zendaya threesome movie. It's like, oh, go see sick ass, like really well done and well paced movie about like a three-part character study, and also there's some horniness thrown in there for fun.
Character stuff, the tennis stuff. We haven't really talked about it. The tennis stuff was really well shot. I guess there's not a ton to say. Like the fucking ball cam, the POV ball cam, that was sick. I like the POV. My friend sitting behind me when they did like the ball cam and the POV, like just hitting it, he was like groaning, and I was like, no, this is sick, dude.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. I mean, like, the cinematography is like a whole other point. There are all these great push zooms where like it goes like literally, it's like an impossible camera move. I'm thinking specifically like when they first start playing at the Tire Town tournament, where it like goes like right past the judge's head, and I'm like, this is an impossible camera shot, but it's really cool, and like the way it's done is like so and like the score is playing, and it's a really like sick shot, and there's a lot of like really cool cinematography, like angles, that like the underneath them angle when they're like bouncing the ball off of the ground, and you're like you're under them, and like the sweat's dripping down on like the camera lens. It's really cool. There's that one like comped shot where it's Tashi in the middle of the frame, and then Patrick on the left and Art on the right, and it's like obviously like, you know, like a spliced image, but it looks really cool, and it's like it holds there in slow motion. There's just a lot of like really cool, like the lighting in the when Zendaya cheats on Art again. She like with like the red lights on her face. I don't like the low frame rate slow mo in that scene, but that's just a pet peeve.
Fuck. I was gonna say that happens in Suspiria a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, shut up, Luca. Like, that looks terrible. I don't know. And yeah, when it came up here, I was like, oh my God.
It looks bad in every movie it's ever been in. And it's like my personal pet peeve for movies. If you have low frame rate slow-mo in your movie, I do not like it, and I will be mad about it.
Does anyone like that? It looks terrible.
It looks terrible. It does not look good. I don't know why he did that. Yeah, it's frustrating. But anyway.
It like almost ruins that scene in the car because it's just like jittery what it's supposed to be, but it's like kind of a climactic point.
Yeah. I don't know.
But again, Luca with his editing.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a little weird.
That's just maybe like a personal creative choice.
Okay. I would give it 4 stars.
I think I also gave it 4 stars because I think also it helped that my expectations were so low, and like a lot of the movies that I end up because I had literally no expectations because I didn't know anything about the movie.
Okay, no expectations.
So when rather than low, it was no expectations. Oh, it's Zendaya. It's probably gonna be, and the guy who didn't call me by her name is probably gonna be terrible. Yeah, but no, I had like literally no idea about the movie except for Zendaya threesome movie, and then I walked out being like, I can play tennis right now. I'm not gonna run through a wall.
Damn, I need to pick up a racket.
Pick up a racket and start swinging. Yeah,
I played tennis for 1 year in high school, and I was not very good at it.
As a tennis player, do you have a different perspective on the movie?
Tennis is really hard.
So I respect that.
You're like winded after like 10 minutes, and it made my wrist really hurt, which is why I stopped playing it. I think I was holding the racket wrong.
It's just you like on the other end, and they're just throwing tennis balls at you like 100 miles an hour. You're like, please stop.
I have played organized tennis.
You're like, tennis is hard. Coaches are really mean.
This is really fucking hard. Ping pong's just better. Ping pong's like the best sport. You don't have to like run around, like run 10 miles in a game.
Challengers for the ping pong.
Bro,
I actually did. I made the joke to Kristen. I was like, okay, so picture challengers, but instead of Mike Fice and Josh O'Connor, it's me and my friend Hunter Groff. And instead of tennis, it's Black Ops 2, the Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and there's no girl. It's just the sexual tension.
There's no girl. We just fuck.
So, picture this movie, but it's completely different.
It's Liam Hunter, and instead of tennis, it's beer pong.
Yeah. And I jump over the net at the end, and we both catch each other, and it's awesome.